Hey crafters! In this video I'll be explaining how you can download fonts and upload them to use within Design Space. I think this is something really good to get to grips with because it really opens up what you can do with your designs, and you won't be limited to the fonts that are available within Design Space or on your computer. There are a few things that I want to explain before I show you the actual process of downloading a font. The first of which is that when you do download fonts, they'll come with either a personal use or a commercial use license. If you were to get a personal use license, generally those will be the fonts that you're not paying for, the free fonts. And with these kind of fonts, you're perfectly at liberty to download them and use them in your projects, but they need to be for personal use, so projects that you're going to have in your own home or you're giving as a gift, not something that you plan to sell. If, however, you do want to sell what you're making, then you need to get a commercial license. On the screen you can see some examples of websites you can use to download fonts. If we're looking for personal use, generally the free fonts, you can look at font.com, 1001 free fonts, Google Fonts. I'll link all of these in the description below. And if you are planning to sell your creations, then definitely look at these commercial use websites. My Fonts is a good one. Personally though, my favourite and my recommendation would be Creative Fabrica. And the reason for this is that if you do get a subscription, like a monthly subscription to this website, not only do you get access to loads of fonts with a commercial license, this website also has lots of images, lots of cut files, projects, things that you can use in Design Space and on your Cricut, so you'll get access to a lot more than just fonts. Okay, so next I want to explain the different formats that you might see a font in when you download it. You might see it as a .otf or a .ttf. Now in the research that I've done, I think understanding what these two types of fonts are really is only relevant if you're actually designing the font itself. But in a nutshell, TTF is the original font type and it's the kind of standard in which Apple and Microsoft design fonts. But they wouldn't allow you to have those sort of additional characters that we get in some fonts. And that's why the OTF font type was created, to allow fonts to have more characters in them. And you'll see what I mean by this in a minute. But the point is that if you do download a font and it's there in the two different formats, just go for the OTF type. Okay, now when I mentioned about special characters you get in OTF, this is what I'm referring to. Sometimes you might see that a font has got, the alphabet letters as normal, but then it's got some alternate forms of those same letters that look a little bit more fancy. They've got these extra curves to them. You'll see these referred to as swashes, glyphs, alternates. And I'll explain to you how you can get these into Design Space because they won't always have a keyboard key that you can use to get them. Okay, so what we'll do is head over to the internet browser. I've opened up one of the free websites that I mentioned. This is font.com, and you can see at the top here that there are so many different categories in which they organize their font. There are so many options available here. Generally, I would work within the calligraphy fonts. I like to use this sort of font for when I want something that looks a bit more fancy, a bit more intricate. And then I would generally contrast that with a sans serif font. So that's these kind of fonts that are sort of more square, sharp edges. They don't have, if I show you the difference, this bit of overhang here, that's called a serif. I would usually combine a sans serif and a calligraphy font. So let's take Hello Honey as an example. If I want to download this, I would just click on the download button. And if you're a Mac user, when you click on your download, it will automatically unzip it for you. So there's the zip version. We'll click on this unzipped. And here you can see that the font is available as an OTF file. So you just click on the OTF file. This window will open up and you just install the font. Now what will happen next is that your computer will open up your font library. If you don't know what this is, open your Finder, go to Applications, and then find your font book. And here you can see under User all of the fonts that you have downloaded. And make sure at the top here you're on this second tab, because that's what will allow you to see all of those additional glyphs and swashes. So going back to this Hello Honey font, let me increase the size a bit. If we scroll down here, can you see these are all of the additional options on letters you can get into your Design Space. Now in order for your Cricut to register that you've uploaded a font, you're going to need to restart, so I'll do that now. So just close Design Space and then come back to your Finder, your applications, reopen Design Space. So if I now write some text, and I come here at the top under the font options, I can search for the font I've just downloaded. And there you see Hello Honey is now showing up as an option in Design Space. So you just select it. And as you might know, Design Space doesn't function that well with fonts. It always gives the letters like an odd sort of a spacing. You can correct this by ungrouping and just moving the letters closer and further away as you like. But what I want to show you now is how to get those additional characters. So I'm going to undo what I've just done so that this is still a font that we can edit. So yeah, you can see that's a font. Now we're going to go back to the font book, and let's say we want to grab this and change the T on the end of font to the one with this nice heart on the end. The easiest way is to copy and paste. So edit, copy, and you can use the keyboard shortcut Command C, and then come in here and Command V, and there you see we've got the alternate T. So you can just delete the other one. Now just be aware that you do need to make sure that when you copy and paste an alternate into your text box, the font here needs to match the font that you copied, otherwise you'll just get, otherwise you won't get the correct character. So that's it. That's where you can find fonts to use for personal or commercial use, how you download them and get them into Design Space, and how you can get alternate characters. I hope this was useful. Guys, let me know if there's anything else that you want help with. But until the next time, happy crafting!